Hey guys, how's it going this week? It's pretty interesting reading, I thought, this week. Molina made several comments that made me think about what we call our craft of writing. He said, books belong in libraries and bookstores, but fiction's everywhere all the time, just like the air we breathe. We tell and listen to stories, trade them with parents, friends, and even complete strangers. That's it kind of made me think that the stuff that we think of as writers, or that we think of as story ideas and things, they can be anyone's story, and that's what I think makes fiction such a cool genre to actually be writing in. Molina also said that memories tell stories, but sometimes we make up a whole story on the spur of the moment, kind of hiding ourselves, or even out of vanity to try to get someone to think we're something we're not. That's something I think people do sometimes. Doesn't really describe myself, but I think that it's interesting, especially at a bar or nightclub or whatever, when you talk to somebody, how sometimes their reality gets more and more unbelievable, I guess, as the night goes on. I think the biggest thing that Molina said that resonated with me was that even though we might not ever write a single actual page, people that identify as writers are obsessive readers. I'm not an obsessive reader, but I like to read. I think reading is a way for me to relax, but ever since I've joined this program, I find myself looking at composition and content and looking for ideas myself as a writer. And so there's also, I think, a common theme here, and I'd like to know what you guys think, that writers are people watchers, that we like to remember things we've seen, see habits that we observe, and they may even help us develop characters in our stories. As far as the writing processes from novel ideas, I took a look at Theodore Wessner. Found out he approaches things in a systematic way, which I actually like, as far as his perspective. One of the cool things he does, and it was mentioned in his thing, is that he's got a novel called Winning in the City, and it's a sports book, but all of his sports books deal with losing instead of winning, and that's something that is almost always overlooked in almost every story. There's been a few movies out about different teams that have lost and how that's affected them, but the thing about writing and losing in sports is that we always celebrate the winners, but we don't think about the losers. And I've often found that in my limited athletic abilities as when I was younger, that actually the things I remember most are the lessons I learned from losing. So Weisner also said that he revises a lot. I'm an endless reviser as well. It seems like I'm always editing my stuff. And then finally he says, when there's a lot of characters in the book, that you have to sustain the overall story and connect the moments that each of them have, that develops the story and gives them all a progression, so each character has its own narrative. I think that's really important as we write, that we're able to have each character that we put into any of our stories have their own timeline. As I read and watch movies, I find that their influences on my writing show up, because I think that anything that, if properly set up and imagined, can exist regardless of what actual reality is. That's the cool thing I like about fiction. My personal writing processes have evolved ever since the starting of the MA program and now in this MFA program, because I'm more serious about it. I find myself thinking about random things that I can have a character do, or a random experience I have, or a scene I could include. Sometimes so much that I even wake up in the middle of the night remembering a dream or whatever, and I'm looking for a pencil to write something down. I'm taking it more serious because I truly believe that I can write a book, or hopefully books, kind of like some of you guys have, and I hope I can entertain and also have something to say that makes some type of impact on my readers. So hopefully you enjoyed that talk. Again, sorry it's a little longer this week, but had a lot to say, and looking forward to finding out what you guys have to say. Thanks a lot.